During a press conference in Brussels on January 14, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen presented a proposal to use the loan approved at the end of last year for Zelensky's regime for 2026 to 2027. How much is this loan? €90 billion as a joint loan from EU countries. Of this amount, Ursula von der Leyen proposed allocating €60 billion to, what do you think it will be used for? To develop democracy in Ukraine? No. To support the economy? No. Perhaps to rebuild the social sector? Of course not. €60 billion will be allocated to the Kiev regime's military needs because, as she explained, it is fighting a war with Russia. There is no shortage of money for this. €30 billion will be allocated to Kiev's budget support. What does this mean? Look at this interesting wording, budget support for Kiev. Neither the social nor the humanitarian sphere, nor the construction of new plants and factories to create jobs, nor the opening of schools, theaters, museums or universities will, of course, see any of this money. As Ursula von der Leyen put it, it is for the Kiev regime's budgetary needs. What are the Kiev regime's budgetary needs? Well, we know now. Now the whole world knows. Ursula von der Leyen allocated this money to Zelensky for theft. This is the budgetary needs of those on Bankova Street.
Macron spoke of a shift towards what he called a world without rules. Let me quote him. It's a shift towards a world without rules, where international law is trampled underfoot and where the only law that seems to hashtag matter is that of the strongest, Macron said, adding that imperial ambitions were emerging.
I think it's all thanks to Macron's magic glasses, which he wore during his speech at the forum in Davos. I think he put them on and suddenly saw clearly. It immediately became obvious what we had been saying all along. These rules that the West invented to replace international law boil down to one rule, the law of the strongest. It has been a long time since the Russian side received confirmation of President Donald Trump's decision in response to Russia's appeal to release 2 Russian citizens who were members of the crew of the oil tanker Marinera, which was detained by the U.S. Armed Forces during an operation in the international waters of the North Atlantic. We are bewildered and disappointed by the prolonged delay in resolving this important and urgent issue. We hope this issue will be resolved in the near future, allowing our citizens to return home soon. Unfortunately, the prerequisites for resuming political dialogue with Tbilisi are still lacking. During the regime of former Georgian President Mikhail Saakashvili, it was decided for some reason that severing diplomatic relations with Russia and refusing to talk to it would help resolve certain issues. The Russian side has not yet received a substantive, official response from the U.S. through bilateral channels regarding the New START initiative put forward by Russian President Vladimir Putin last September. As noted by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Viktorovich Lavrov, whom you quoted earlier, we have to rely on public statements by U.S. President Trump, which take the form of highly speculative and often contradictory reasoning. During the press conference, the American leader's latest comment on this issue is hardly promising. However, it is unclear whether this is Washington's final word. Accordingly, see point 1, which I mentioned earlier. No answers have been received on this matter. The New START treaty expires on February 5th, which is still about 2 weeks away, and in these circumstances, we prefer not to make any predictions, but to wait until that date or milestone so that we can draw final conclusions on this issue and make informed statements about the prospects for further developments. I would also like to remind you that the Russian president has stated that Russia is ready for any scenario.